Good afternoon, everybody. This is Greg speaking from Elium, and I'm accompanied by
Hélène from Elium as
from
well.
Elium. So we're very happy to be organizing this webinar today. We'll be the short agenda of the topics we'll be addressing. Obviously, the goal here is to give you an introduction to knowledge sharing and more specifically to Elium's technology. And so we'll first start off by looking at what are the key challenges faced today by companies with the existing technologies that they use. We'll have a look at, we'll carry out a live demo also on the mobile and on the desktop to see how actually Elium addresses these types of issues. And then we'll go over to Helen and see how we actually implement these types of platforms. There's obviously quite a lot of change management involved. And there are like a couple of methodologies that we've developed over the years, and so we'll dig into more details with that. Perhaps to kick off, something that might be relevant in your specific case, we just took two or three really important issues today in companies. One of them is related to the amount of interruptions and notifications that we're receiving in our everyday lives. I mean, here a research by UC Irvine basically shows that on average we're interrupted every 3 minutes. They also state that about half of those interruptions are information requests by colleagues. So there's a lot of actually amount of time that is, and especially interruption time, that is wasted in those types of interactions. Obviously, those interruptions can occur through email, they can occur across the desk. There are different types of shapes and forms that these interruptions can take. There's the main issue, interruption overload. A second analyst report by Harvard, so HBR, Harvard Business Review, basically states there's a lot of time spent today by managers, but also employees inside meetings, obviously mainly executives and managers. You have lots of tools today on the market that are giving you access to the calendars of your colleagues, of other managers, and you have tools such as Zoom or Skype that allow to actually hold these meetings even if you're not physically available. So the resulting issue is that you're actually holding a lot of meetings, and probably about 50% of their time is spent within meetings. If you accumulate that with the massive notifications and interruptions you actually get very little time to work on stuff that matters. And on here, what the review states as being deep thinking. So all of this kind of medium and longer term project work, thinking work, tends to be put away, and there's a much larger focus on real-time and short-term decisions and actions, and this is an issue we're seeing more and more inside companies. There's actually a straight parallel with our private lives as well, whether it's using social networks, whether it's using mobile applications as well. We can get an overload of all these types of information. And then it all boils down to what? The amount of time we're actually ourselves spending looking for information or finding someone who can help. And this is about a fifth of the time in typically knowledge workers' time is going to be spent doing this. So this is really the key trigger and the main reason why many companies today are getting in touch with ourselves to try and solve this, not completely, obviously, but at least to get some level of improvement. So today, where does this key information, this key knowledge sit? Well, email remains king in many companies. I mean, fortunately, there are many kind of complementary and technologies that are helping our lives. And one of them is like team level chats, group chats. Some of you might be using this, such as Slack, Microsoft Teams, really getting people out of email for, let's say, daily interactions and daily chats. It's really doing a good job at that. And for example, here at Elium, we actually don't share any more internal emails with our colleagues, or very, very few. It's almost exclusively with the outside world. So that just allows us already to kind of have specific channels that are more efficient depending on the needs. So that's one of the really the techs that we're seeing out there. The second one is shared drives and folders. I mean, many of you and most of you, based on our research, are using Office 365, Google Suite, quite often a combination of all of these ecosystems. And they're using shared drives basically as a way to store this important information. So you're going to be looking at a folder, subfolder, sub-subfolder kind of structure, each department having its own set of folders, user rights, and it pretty quickly gets a bit of a hassle and a mess. And one of the main issues with that is, apart from the management overhead and like managing the access rights in an easy way, there's very little context around information. You're going to be just sharing like a file by itself or a few files inside a folder, and you don't have any way to basically build a kind of story or richer context around individual information items. And then the last place where you're going to be seeing a lot of key information is inside business-specific applications. So if you're in the sales marketing department, you can be using the CRM for storing a lot of information around that, generally customer-oriented information. You can be using project management tools. But the common aspect there is, where do you actually store more of the transversal information, like the best practices, the key content that you have to reuse on a daily basis. This is where Elium gets to its own, and this is really where we focus on. So how does Elium help? A little bit of background, and we'll start off by a customer quote. They initially needed an internal Google for helping people search and find information. And they were looking for a Facebook type of interface or user experience to ease sharing. And the main advantage there is that people today are used to Facebook in their private lives, and they just find this, let's say, the concepts of sharing inside a specific community, liking content of other people, commenting, mentioning, all of these kind of ingrained in people's behaviors, also in the workplace. In this specific space, in addition, Elium brought us Wikipedia. So this is really for you to, and it's a very useful way to communicate on how to position a platform inside a company. We were really looking at this kind of reference hub inside the company of knowledge that's going to grow over time, but where you're looking at quality knowledge and where you can also like co-create and co-build this information over time. For what types of use cases? Well, there are many, many different use cases. There are many different types of departments depending on the company size you're in. Typically, we've been segmenting in 6 different types of use cases, like key knowledge that is produced and needs to be reused by departments. First of all, at the top management level. So anything from weekly meeting notes to strategic plans, reports, budget, financials, anything, none of this necessarily produced inside the hub that's perhaps being created inside Word, inside a Google document. You're going to be able to just put it in context and share it inside a dedicated management space. As an example, so every Monday afternoon here at Elium, we have management meeting where we have the meeting agenda that sits inside our platform that's being enriched in real time by the different people who participate. And then once all of the the attachments, the documents, and the projects that we refer to are inside this content, we just publish it to the rest of the company. So there's also a kind of working out loud, but in a time respectful way. You're not going to be using it as you use Slack or Teams for generating real-time notifications and so on. We're really looking at, again, quality content. For products, research and development, engineering teams, anything that is going to be related to market research, analysis, specifications of product specs, designs, product documentation, best practices in terms of coding, for example, if you're a software company. These are also the types of contents that can be documented and shared inside these types of platforms. For marketing, all of the collaterals, whether they're the draft or the final collaterals, whether it's press releases, brand material, project learnings, instead of having absolutely all of that information inside shared drives, you're going to be surfacing the key information inside Elium. And this is where we look very often at the link between marketing and sales. So there's a lot of valuable content produced by marketing, a lot of valuable experience inside the product teams. And how do you actually share and transfer part of that experience and that content efficiently to the sales and also to the support and customer success departments? So here, I won't go into further detail around the specifics of each department, but each one will have really kind of templates and contents that they use on a regular basis that you'd like to find in these types of knowledge hubs. A couple of words about our company. We're a pure player located in Belgium. Pure player, that means it's our sole focus. We don't do anything else but Elium. That is a software as a service, so we don't do any on-premise. We deliver Elium through a private cloud. We've been deploying Elium on various scales of companies. So the smallest customers we're looking at 30, 40, 50 employees, and we've been managing successful rollouts up to 50,000 users. So it can scale, the technology and the methodologies can scale a lot. In terms of, let's say, market focus, we're really working internationally. We have very different multi-sector like customers, whether it's inside more of the consulting sector, in the industrial sector, customers also in NGOs and so on. But so the technology itself can really be tailor-made and structured according to your specific context. We'll talk about methodological and technical services with Hélène. We've been around for 10 years. Slightly more, and so we've basically been showing steady growth, and today we're about 40-person company, investing a lot still in the product, which is the core, obviously, of our proposal and our value. Work, we mentioned many different companies. This is quite interesting. I mean, if you're looking around for different types of knowledge sharing solutions, enterprise content management, enterprise social networks, company wikis, there are a lot of different solutions out there. This is an extract of a consulting company in France. It's been carrying out over the past 10 years, every year, so an annual benchmark of the landscape of knowledge sharing, knowledge management solutions. They go into great detail. I mean, it's a 200-page document, but this is one quadrant that really focuses on two key aspects. One is going to be like on the horizontal scale, the depth of features and the possibilities that the solution provides in terms of knowledge sharing. So building an internal wiki, being able to manage the structure, making it also lively, managing like archiving of information. So there are a whole series of features that are related to that. So on the left, you're going to be seeing tools that are fairly light in terms of features, and to the right, you're going to have tools that really provide specific KM features. And then on the vertical axis, you're going to have the quality of user experience. So here, what you're going to be seeing overall in this matrix is the bottom right, probably, let's say, more traditional actors. They're going to have, won't have the best user experience, but they're going to be quite wide in terms of features. And on the top left, you're going to be seeing very, very light actors such as Slack, we're mentioning them, such as Evernote, but they have very, very good user experience. So you won't be able to go as far in terms of features, in terms of, let's say, user governance, in terms of content access, in terms of taxonomy management, but it's, this really shows that Elium is here. Our key focus is to be good on both axes. So, quick demo. Let me therefore switch to here my navigation. I'll show you also, I can actually do that straight away. Let me show my mobile app first. I'm doing this the other way around. Share. So you should be seeing my screen. I'll start by the mobile app because it's more straight to the point, and it'll give you a very easy overview of what provides Elium. So this is a native iOS application. We have the same for Android. You access it through your homepage, and you first of all get an overview of all of the spaces in which you can later just share content information. So the first kind of access level you get is an overview of all of the resources that are available, and this is completely personalizable. So based on your branding, based on the specifics of your context, so if you're looking at a marketing and sales platform, we're only going to have dedicated spaces and terminology that reflects the content behind that. I'm going to be able to if I go into, say, customer cases and credentials, I can enter the space. As you can see, there are like several like other sub sections inside the space. And once I enter these sections, I'm going to be able to view different types of content, open them, and read them. Here we're looking at a specific example. Pardon my French, this is actually a French example, but it shows that we're looking, and we'll look at it in greater detail on the desktop, what is the type of content we can build. You're going to have also just a quick update, so an activity feed that shows who's been sharing what type of content inside the platform. If a document or analysis is interesting for you, you can bookmark it. So I can also just tap on this bookmark button in the middle of the screen, and I'll be able to, if I tap right at the bottom of the screen, just at every moment, just easily access all of my favorite information now. Just a couple of items. You do have a notification bar as well. If ever somebody asks me a question on content I've been publishing or mentions me, I'll be able to just quickly see that. And I have an overview of all of the users inside the platform. So for expertise location, I'll also be able to quickly search for a specific person. And this can be directly, this can be also directly linked to your Active Directory or to your Google directory. So this is the app. You have global search also that's available inside the platform. So if I launch here for search for the keyword digital, I'm actually going to be surfacing all of the content that has this specific keyword throughout the platform. Now, this is fine if you're looking at a platform that has perhaps several hundred, several thousand documents. It's going to surface like this full text search. It's going to surface information easily. But if you have more information, like looking at several thousands, several tens of thousands of content, you might want to be using tags. And this is something which is quite specific to Elium, is that each individual content that you publish inside the platform, you'll be able to assign one or more tags. And these tags, apart from being, in most platforms, can be completely unstructured. Here you can actually organize them in categories. It's a bit like on Amazon, when you start selecting and browsing through content. Here I'm going to be able to select, for example, all of the results based on a specific topic, based on a specific type of content, of service, of language. And again, this vocabulary, so all of these tags are based on your context. And so we have very different kind of setup. So these categories of tags and tags can be completely different from a company and a customer inside the pharmaceutical industry when compared to, let's say, a legal industry or lawyer's cabinet. So this is something, again, that can be personalized, and it's extremely useful. So you don't have to just rely on like the hierarchical aspects of spaces and creating folders inside those, but you can also have like a very transverse tag-based navigation, which is much more efficient in some use cases. So let me go back to full screen. Just quickly checking out the time here. So what I explained on the mobile is completely applicable here on the desktop as well. except that I'm going to have just a global view of the platform. So here I have all of my spaces that I've been creating, and so each space can also be accessible to one or more members. So we're going to have also user management that's applied to each specific space. And you're going to be able to just gather them, let's say by topics. I can have several communities of practice, several executive teams, several resources, and I'll be able to just enter a specific space, browse through that information, and only so through the central screen, or you can use on the left side, you have a navigation bar that gives you very quick access to like the key content in here. Again, while I'm here on the left bar, you're going to have, so this overview, I'm going to have my activity feed that shows new content that's been shared. I'll be able to interact and to reshare this content very, very quickly. I have the user directory, being able to re-find people, and a quick access like to draft content and to my bookmarks. On the top bar, I'm always going to have access to the search. So again, you're going to have the search gives you quick access, or I can go to like advanced search based on tags. Oops. So just, I did mean digital. Let's just, here I just kicked off the search that you saw on the mobile. So I'll be able here to, and this is a more visual view of how tags actually work. So I can be able to just select change management, combine it with a specific type of content, let's say case studies, and then I can access the content here. So you have the search, which works extremely well. And probably the last aspect, I think, which is really key inside Elium is, well, what is the type of content? What is the format in which I can share and create information? You can start off by creating a completely empty piece of content. And this is something where we have an editor that allows you to add text. It allows you to, for example, if I want to add a piece of a specific image, a specific chart, if I want to add a document here from my desktop, I can also add this immediately, and perhaps I can give full access to it, and you'll see when I save how that looks like. You can actually create this notion of capsule of information. You can structure it, you can format it. Example here, my best practice. And apart from, let's say, just adding text and rich content, videos, obviously it works as well. You can start relating to existing content on other platforms. So here I'm also able to, example, go and fetch content which is located on Google Drive. And so I'm going to be able to really build context around information that lies elsewhere, and build this kind of capsule inside Elium. Let me just come back here. So you can save this as a draft. You can work on content before it's ready, and then you can publish it inside a specific space. Let me here just show it inside Agile methodologies. I can tag it if I want to. I'll skip this part for now, and you will see a specific content here that's created. When I started off the presentation by different types of use cases that are possible with Elium, this is a generic example, but the idea is you can really create tailor-made content types, such as competition battle cards, product sheets, customer cases, that all respect specific templates. Let's say the weekly meeting that you have, you can also start creating templates around that, easily edit it, and replicate that information and just gain a lot of time. So that is something that you have, let's say, full control on. So as an administrator, all of these different types of contents that users are able to share, instead of, let's say, like in Facebook Workplace or Slack, sharing completely unstructured data, here we're helping users and we're guiding them with specific templates. And so here you're completely free. We have a template builder that allows you to create, name, structure the body of these contents, and it's pretty powerful. Here, so the goal was really to give a quick overview of Elium. Probably a lot of bells and whistles we have been showing. It's not the we can go into more detail with you at a later stage. So now we'll hand over also the talk to Hélène and chat a bit more about the key success factors. So you've seen the technology. I mean, it's, yes, pretty easy to use, but there's a lot of depth as well. So how do you actually implement this, and what type of services do we offer at Elium?
Yeah, thank you, Gregory. Yeah, because as Gregory said, the technology is important, but what we realized during those past 10 years of experience is that the support and everything around this tool is really important for the success of the initiative. So what I wanted to present to you today is few factors that we noticed as the main and the most important for the success of the project. The first one is not a surprise, but it's that you need to have a really clear goal when you set this platform. As you showed, Gregory, you can do like a knowledge base, a resource base for marketing, for sales, or for the support function, or whatever you want to do. It needs to be clear and not like combine everything, a little bit of everything, because that will be not really clear for the user. And Greg presented this during the introduction. There are many tools already in companies, so if you add one more tool with a lot of complexity in the usage, it will not be powerful enough. So we try to help you to define this and make sure that you are straight to the point. And also that there is a sponsor behind your initiative, of course, because if there is someone that can support, that can defend your project, that can take decision and make sure that they believe in your project is really important. So we also try to make sure that you have this person and that we keep him in the loop, of course. Something also that it's really important is the IT environment is becoming really complex, and so we believe it's important with you to define a map of every tool that you already have, the usage they cover, the target audience that you want to address with those tools, and try to find, okay, where does Elium fit in this landscapes? Where can we really be useful? What kind of needs could we answer with the tool? Because that needs to be clear for the user as well, and that's your main audience is the user. So we need to make sure that they understand where you want to go, and that's also an exercise that we will do together if you start a project with Elium. Also, we tend to work with a project team. 2, 3, 4 people is good, and we believe in the strength of having a team with a lot of different function in the team. So, for example, it's not an IT team, but we believe that it's good to have, for example, an HR or a communication manager in the team, an IT if they want to join, of course, to maybe have more the technical view, and also some functional job that they know the fields, they know the reality, they know the knowledge, they know the information, they know everything to help us building the best tool as possible. Also, as you maybe didn't really notice it, but Elium is really flexible, really agile, so it's really easy to delete a space, move one space, change the structure, change the tabs. Everything is really flexible and in your hands. So we believe in the power of experimentation. We don't think it's useful to think a lot during like 5 months, build the best structure on paper and then just try. We believe it's important to try really, to start with a little structure, challenge it, make sure that user give feedback, we change, we adapt, we move, and we try to always make sure that it fits the needs, because that can change over time. And the proximity is also important with us, of course, because we try to keep you really in the loop, to have feedback with you, to have working session and calls, but for you to have also the proximity with your user.
Perhaps on the experimentation, and I'll reinforce that, we're often asked how Elium is different to SharePoint. SharePoint, which has been there for a long time inside the Microsoft suite. And I think one of the key aspects is indeed in that experimentation and that agility, which is important. If you actually want to get to the level of user experience and efficiency of Elium, you actually have to go through quite a heavy custom development process on SharePoint. And then actually goes against, so it's kind of almost a philosophical approach to the project where you're looking at more a long-term, let's say 1-year project and having to develop specifics instead of starting with something and have this kind of Lego approach of being able to quickly test, learn and improve. So it's also, in terms of philosophy, quite a different approach to some of the, let's say, the more existing players.
Yeah. And so, okay, we explain you all the criteria and the key success factor, but we believe it's important to help you to put that in place and to make it work. So over time, we develop a methodology to make sure that we guide our customer in the right direction. We have methodology, but it's combined with some services because it's important for us to provide you with integration support, with import if you have existing database that we can import on Elium. We also have like a support over time, so we believe it's important to guide you during the onboarding phase, but all along the process as well, because that's easy to set up the platform, but the main and the most difficult part is after and on the long term. And we think we need to guide you, to support you, to give you tips and tricks, to make sure that you have benchmark statistic and stuff to make sure that we continue in the right direction. We have a learning center with all our tutorial, FAQ, training material to make sure that you are autonomous, like you can do it yourself, make sure that you can help your user without putting much effort on this part.
You can already access it already, and so
yeah.
learn.elium.com.
Yeah.
You can just type that in your browser and just go ahead and take a browse.
And we have also a customer community. We used to organize a user club with all our customers, and they exchange best practice, they exchange what was difficult, what they did, what didn't work, and that's a powerful way of making sure they discuss together, because they also have best practice that they can exchange if they are in the same industry, if they have the same realities, if they have the same relationship with IT, with the internal people. So they exchange about that, and they learn a lot of element and best practice from other customers.
And it's a great source of inspiration for ourselves as well.
Yeah.
We're showing you templates, we're showing you like structures of platforms. We've obviously built over the years a lot of experience as well for like specific types of companies, how to best organize the tags, the spaces, what types of templates, and we're like trying to productify this as much as we can. So ingraining that inside the product to make it just to share that experience with new customers as yourselves.
Regarding the methodology, it's quite simple. We have two methodology quickly. The fast methodology will develop it for simple usage. The use case is really clear. It's really quick to implement. It's more like call with us. In each call, you have some mission to do, some task. The next call, we try to see if it worked for you, which questions do you have, and then continue further. And then in 1 or 2 months, depending on your rhythm, we try to implement and launch Elium. Adopt methodology is more focused on multi-usage or more complex usage, I would say bigger platform, like with a lot of challenges, a lot of department, a lot of function that want to join the project. And the difference is that we have really working session with you. So working session on the vision, objective, KPIs, a working session on the planning, on the task, and a working session of the adoption plan. So what we call the adoption plan is the plan where we're going to think about how we communicate with the audience, how we're going to interact with them, how we're going to train them. So it's more like we take every part and we help you on each part. So it's a bit more of work and more support from our side. So that's and that's take more time, of course. So it's more an implementation of 2-3 months. So that's the difference, actually.
Perhaps, and we could add that in the side, it's really the official launch. So we're not talking about preparing the technology, just making sure you get this right. The technology is off the shelf. It exists. We can just turn it on in a click. It's really all of and then I'll show you in the next slide. It's much more like time to reflect, time to gather stakeholders, and of course there is part of tech aspect.
Yeah, so that's an example of the journey to start a fast methodology with us. So for example, we're going to have a kickoff call and then follow-up calls with a lot of topics. And of course, then during this time you can implement, play with your platform, create some space, categories and tags, but the call are more useful to challenge, to say, okay, yes, I imagine creating 100 tags, but is it useful? Should I group them? Is it useful on my platform or stuff like that? So challenge your decision, help you to build the best platform. Then, of course, we have some trainings, and we continue like this with deliverables and some action to take to make sure that you launch your platform. And indeed, the launch for us is opening your platform to your user, even if the platform is created already from the beginning. And as I mentioned, we're going to keep the follow-up with the calls on KPIs, on make sure that you continue growing and that your platform is useful for you and for your user, actually.
Thanks a lot for spending time with us. I hope it was interesting. If you have any further questions, do feel free to get in touch with our sales colleagues. And so I'll be glad to spend a bit of time with you. And for that, did I miss out on anything?
No, that's fine. Okay. Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, everybody. Have a nice day.
Bye-bye.
Cheers.
Have a nice day.